spirits here has caused him to remain. And a woman here will leave her home, and two will be as one. As it was in the beginning, is now until the end. A woman draws her life from man and brings it back again. There is love. There is love. Well, then what's to be the reason for becoming man and wife? Is it love that brings you here, or love that brings you life? For if loving is the answer, then who's the giving for? Do you believe in something that you've never felt before? Oh, there is love. There is love. Oh, love. Marriage of your spirits here caused him to remain. There is love. There is love. Never two or more of you are gathered in his name. There is love. There is love. Oh, love.
Get there. Testing. But this one's not on. Okay. Hold on to this. Okay. Well, I can use this one while he's fixing that one. How about that? Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming today while we celebrate Mary Epper. We have a nice afternoon planned. We would like you to stay afterwards, please, to share with the family and friends and just let everybody love on one another. But at the moment, when we get the mic fixed, we're going to turn it over and we'll get rolling. But we're happy to see all of your faces here today. She touched so many lives. I know there's a lot of people that couldn't be here today, and they are watching live stream, which is a beautiful thing. We're not entirely sure that that's going to be available to watch later, so we are going to record it for those who are unable to see it today. They can see it another time. It's important to have closure. The family will be here for a while afterwards. We have to wrap it up about 4:30, and but we would love it if you would stay. In the meantime, can I put this in here? Oh, it's good. All right, awesome. Thank you. So at this time, I'm going to ask Donna Marks to come up and say a few words.
afternoon, everybody. Can you hear me okay? Thank you. I just thought we might start off with a little prayer in honor of this beautiful soul, Mary. Heavenly Creator, we ask you to help us see Mary's passing as a celebration of homecoming, as we know she wants us to see it. Knowing that we will miss her, and knowing if we simply ask, you will give us all the comfort needed. Thank you for bringing us together to share our grief, as well as our experiences with Mary. We know that she is safe under your loving wings of love, and that at some point we will all reunite. Until then, we ask that you help us to enjoy heaven now. Your loving guidance is ever present and available. We thank you for all of your blessings. Amen. So I was asked to be here today to speak to her life, and when Tracy asked me, I was so honored to be able to speak about a woman who was so much to so many. She was a woman of dignity. She is a woman of dignity, of inner and outer beauty, of grace, of culture, of adventure, of talent. When I first met Mary, she came to A Course in Miracles that I was teaching in my home 35 years ago. And when I just thought, what a gentle soul. And over the years, we became close, and we shared ballet together. We went to dinner. We shared our mistakes with each other. And I just always learned from her. You know, the teacher and the student are the same. I learned so much from her and her struggles. And every time she went through something, she would dig deeper spiritually. And it was beautiful to watch her grow, to watch her blossom. She was a friend. She was an incredible mother. She was so devoted to the recovery community in Al-Anon. And I really am so privileged to have known her and to be able to have shared so many beautiful moments with her in the classroom and at the ballet and over music. And it was quite rewarding to have had all these experiences. One of my favorite things about her life was that she found true love with David. We found it about the same time, which was interesting. She met David through Al-Anon, and I remember her telling me, because I hadn't known that she had met him. We went to dinner and ballet one night, and she was telling me all about it. And she said that she had known him for quite a while in the meetings, and after the meetings, people would sometimes go get ice cream, and they developed a friendship, which is, you know, the God thing. It's the most beautiful, organic, like all of nature, you know, when things happen in that slow and beautiful and organic way. And then one time they had dinner, and they were both recognized that it was a wonderful coincidence that he had spent time, or was going to be spending time with his grandson on a vacation, and she had that same type of annual event that she did with her grandson. So it was, they kind of shared this, and it was like an aha moment, like, oh, we have a connection here in addition to Al-Anon. And then she told me that they started dating, and then one night he walked her to the door, and he gave her a kiss goodnight, and she said, I knew I was no longer in the friend zone. And such a beautiful story. I wasn't at their wedding, but I knew they got married. I knew she was happy. One of the things that Mary taught me was that she learned how to use the golden key. You know, one of the most gracious things and beautiful things about Mary was her spirituality. And she told me that when they had a problem that they couldn't resolve right away, that she and David would use the golden key. So I want to read you the golden key, because she was an Emmett Fox student, and I want to tribute that this is such a beautiful thing to do, and we can all use it right now. I'm not going to read the whole golden key, but I'm going to take out the heart of it here to share with you. As for the actual method of working, like all fundamental things, it is simplicity itself. All that you have to do is this: stop thinking about the difficulty, whatever it is, and think about God instead. This is the complete rule. And if only you will do this, the trouble, whatever it is, will presently disappear. It makes no difference what kind of trouble it is. It may be a thing that's large or something small. It may concern health, finance, a lawsuit, a quarrel, an accident, or anything else conceivable. But whatever it is, just stop thinking about it and think of God instead. That is all you have to do. And this is my favorite part. The thing could not be simpler, could it? God himself could scarcely have made it simpler, and yet it never fails to work when given a fair trial. Do not try to form a picture of God. So here's this spiritual leader telling us, do not try to form a picture of God, which is impossible. Our minds can't grasp it. Work by rehearsing anything or everything that you know about God. God is wisdom. God is truth. Inconceivable love. God is present everywhere, has infinite power, knows everything, and so on. It matters not how well you may think you understand these things. Go over them repeatedly. But you must stop thinking of the trouble, whatever it is. The rule is to think about God. And if you are thinking about your difficulty, you're not thinking about God. So I wanted to share that with you because that was one of Mary's favorite things. And when I remember to do that, it does give me comfort. I was talking to David one day, and it's so important to honor the grieving process. Mary is still with us. No one dies. We change form. But there is a huge loss to be experienced when someone passes over and goes home. And it's so important that we honor those feelings and honor that process, because we have two reasons for tears. God gave us tears to cleanse our eyes when something gets in them, and God gave us tears to cleanse our hearts when something's stuck there. So it's so beautiful. I've been with the family earlier, and to see all of you honoring your grief, that is love. It's only natural to want to avoid pain, but to wrap your arms around it and hug it close and let it come out of your heart is such a blessing. I just want to conclude by saying a little reminder here of what the Course in Miracles tells us about death. As you know, Mary was a student of A Course in Miracles also. Her spiritual tentacles went far and wide. And from Al-Anon to church, to Course in Miracles, to Emmett Fox, she was ever present and so devoted. But this is from the Course in Miracles directly. This is what death should be: a quiet choice made joyfully and with a sense of peace, because the body has been kindly used to help the Son of God along the way he goes to God. We thank the body then for all the service it has given us. We are thankful too the need is done to walk the world of limits and to reach the Christ in hidden forms and clearly seen at most in lovely flashes. Now we can behold him without the blinders and the light that we have learned to look upon again. We call it death, but it is liberty. It does not come in form that seems to be thrust down in pain upon unwilling flesh, but as a gentle welcome to release. When our body no longer serves us, we are released and we are returned to that heavenly place that we call home, and we will all be there at some point. So even though our losses may be very intense and very vast while we're still in our bodies, while we're still in these suits to be able to be of service. There's only one reason to be here, to share and receive love. We came to this planet to play and laugh and gather and rejoice. And one thing that we can say for sure about Mary is that she was a success. She was a mother. She was an incredible employee. She was stable. She was a beautiful and loving wife. She allowed herself to make mistakes and to stick her feet firm in the heart and arms of God. And she grew. And then, when the time calls us, we go home, where we're all going to go. So I release her in peace and love. Last night, we had so much in common. She played the piano. My husband plays the piano. When I walked into David's house today and saw the piano, I'm like, oh, that's so comforting, because we have one in our home too. But he was playing a song last night, and I said, oh, I need to read a couple of stanzas of that in closing out my talk today. It's called Fields of Barley. I know you're all familiar with it. And this reminded me of what Mary would speaking to my heart, would say. You'll remember me when the west wind moves upon the fields of barley. You'll forget the sun and its jealous sky as we walk in fields of gold. Will you stay with me? Will you be my love upon the fields of barley? We'll forget the sun and its jealous sky as we lie in fields of gold. Many years have passed since those summer days among the fields of barley. See the children run as the sun goes down among the fields of gold. You'll remember me when the west wind moves upon the fields of barley. You can tell the sun in his jealous sky, we walked in fields of gold. May we all remember to walk in the fields of gold in the light of the Creator, and bless our time with Mary. And remember how she blessed all of us, and how graciously she did that, and how I, for one, and I'm sure all of you, feel that she enriched your life in some way at some time. Thank you. This is not working, sorry. This mic is like heavy. That's okay. That's okay.
Thank you very much, Donna. That was beautiful. Really, really beautiful. At this time, we're going to open the mic for anybody that would like to share. We'd love it if you'd come up. And don't be bashful. We're going to be here for a little while anyway, so we'd love to hear from you. We'd like you to keep your shares to 3 minutes if we could. Thanks.
We are Mary's 4 siblings. Mary was in the center of our family with 5 siblings. She was in the middle. Her older brother, John. I'm her older sister, Lindsay. Her younger brother, Bill. And her baby sister, Rebecca. Mary and I were 2 years apart, and we shared a room for most of our childhood. We probably had arguments, but I have no memory of that. We mostly had fun together, and we knew we always had a friend. Mary and I did lots of chores around the house. We washed the dishes every night. And with a big family, there were lots of dishes, and we didn't have a dishwasher. I remember we would often sing while we were doing dishes, attempting to harmonize. When I was learning to drive, Mary would bravely come with me. I remember asking her, since I had so much to do with steering and braking, would she watch out for the traffic lights and stop signs? And if you ever drove with Mary as a passenger, you know she never got over her frightening position as a backseat driver. During our childhood, one of our most treasured experiences was to visit our grandparents, who had a farm in Nebraska. When we were very young, there was no running water or electricity on the farm, and so we were reading by kerosene lantern, pumping water at the windmill, helping Grandma in her garden, and gathering eggs, which were experiences we never forgot. As adults, we 5 siblings were spread out all over the country, but we kept in touch, and we meet every 3 years with our families. Friends often exclaimed to me that it was remarkable that the 5 of us got along so well. Well, we had been through a tragedy when we were young children. Mary was just 11 when our mother died of cancer at a young age, leaving our father with 5 kids ranging in age from 15 to 1. I think one reason we've gotten along so well is that we always were in sympathy with each other because we knew we had gone through a hard time. As young adults, Mary was living in Pennsylvania and I was in Kansas City when her son Kenny was born. She was thrilled. We talked by phone as often as possible because her baby boy and my baby girl were just 3 weeks apart in age. This was 50 years ago, when long-distance calls were a luxury. She was so thrilled with her adorable Kenny and would call me to tell me about his latest trick. When Kenny was about a year old, Mary brought him to Kansas City to help me out. While I was out of town, she stayed with my 3 children, who were 1, 3, and 5. And of course, she had Kenny too. I've often wondered how she managed all 4 of them, but she loved doing it. And she was so glad that Kenny was able to get acquainted with his cousins. As all of you know, Mary had a beautiful smile and a fun sense of humor. When she took on a project, she was enthusiastic and had great determination. She was artistic and talented and a wonderful pianist. She developed an interest in photography and became accomplished at that. She always loved playing games and working puzzles. She was completely committed to her career at Alliance Bernstein, where she continued to learn and grow and contribute to the corporation until her retirement. When Mary called me 2 years ago and told me she had been diagnosed with lung cancer, she said, "I'm not afraid to die, but I love my life." She talked about how happy she was. Her son Kenny was working at something he loved doing. Her grandson Jonas had graduated from college, gotten a good job, had a girlfriend, and was buying a house. Her granddaughter Becca was graduating from college, had a good job, and was looking forward to launching into adulthood. When Mary married David, she was radiant. They had a wonderful life together in their private, comfortable, very beautiful home. There was no place she would rather be than sitting on her front porch, overlooking their garden and pond, listening to the wind chimes and talking about their grandchildren. And Donna, what you said in your eulogy was so true of Mary, because she lived heaven during every day of her life. May she rest in peace.
I have a little hip thing going on there. Okay. Hi, my name is Jeannie Toper, and I live on 159th Court North, and Mary and David live on 158th Court North. I'm a little nervous. So beyond just being friends, I got to be their neighbors. And a story I thought I would share is I was walking down 159th, and I was so sad. My little baby Shih Tzu went to heaven. Can you hear me okay? I'm a little short. And Mary just pulled right over. She goes, "Jeannie, are you okay?" And I said, "No." And she came over, and she was just Mary. People have a vibe or an energy, and she was just so kind, and I can just still picture her sitting in the little rocking chair, and she would tell me meaningful things and personal things, and we just talked, and we both raised butterflies together, and we both loved Christmas tree ornaments. I love looking at her Christmas tree, and when Donna was up here, I was thinking to myself how thankful I am to be on this path with so many people that I'm looking at right now. And, you know, Donna, I thought, wow, she's something. And Mary is really something. Her kindness, her heart, you know, she just had such a peace about her. And I just wanted to say a couple things as her neighbor. Thank you for listening to me.
Hi there, my name is Bonnie Serbin, and while I didn't know Mary for very long, what I did know, I got a lifetime's worth. We worked together on the Way of Life conference, and whenever I was around her, she seemed to settle me down with her calm, confident energy, because that's not something that I possess naturally. So when I was working on a project, be it a schedule, a map, or whatever, a program, I would come in like a hurricane, and she said, well, okay, let's do this and that. And she just filled me with peace and calmness. So, you know, when I think back at Mary, I just think, you know, she really was an angel. She was an angel in my heart. And I think so many people experienced her that way. And when I was around her, honestly, I've never said this about anybody before, but I wanted to be better. I wanted to be calmer. I wanted to be nicer. And she instilled that in people. That's what she brought to our community. And for that, I will be forever grateful. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Markey, and I met Mary fairly quickly after I moved to Florida in 1994 at a meeting. And afterwards, you know, they have the coffee hour, and I remember talking about a job I was applying for a photographer, and I had to write an essay. And I don't like public speaking or doing essays. But I remember Mary turned around and said, "I will help you with that." And I was so shocked that somebody would offer to help me. And she did, and I got the job. But the next memory was Christmas. She didn't have any plans, and I didn't have any plans, and she loved Disney World. So we drove Christmas Eve up to Vero Beach, where I had a step-grandmother. We visited with her a couple hours, and went on up to Orlando. Spent the whole Christmas day doing every single ride. I don't think we missed one. And it was great because Christmas Day, their crowds aren't there. So that was, and then the third, I mean, there's many memories, but the third one was a family reunion that she had tickets for Kenny, and for some reason Kenny couldn't go. And she asked me to go because back then you could change plane tickets. So I went to Maryland for that family reunion and met her wonderful, wonderful family. So, and I loved Mary. Thanks.
Hi everyone, my name is Megan Flenner, and I met Mary and David together close to 15 years ago, and my earliest memory that makes me smile and remember her fondly and this time together fondly is I was in graduate school becoming a counselor, and in one of my classes of marriage and family, the practicum was you had to find real people to do counseling with. And I was pretty nervous and scared. I'm like, who's gonna trust me? Who's gonna, allow me to do that? And I asked Mary and David, would you mind if I came on Sundays every, I don't remember how long it was. And they were like, of course, we'll be so happy to help you. And we spent many early evenings for several hours, and I got to know them both, and they were just both so generous and kind to me. And I just felt like I grew in many different ways by being exposed to their love. And this was in their little place before they moved out to the farms. And so they were very generous to me and kind. And a couple years after that, on one of our conferences, our gratitude dinner, they had asked me to do this really big role, and I was like really nervous. And they just had all this confidence in me. And what I remember most of all is Mary's kindness and the way she would hug me. And I'm sad. I'm sad for many reasons. But the thing that I regret is that I hadn't been there in the last several years to have had any recent experiences. So I'm here in love, and when I think of Mary, I think of love and David, and her kindness. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Susie Hausman, and I had zero intention of getting up to speak, but when Donna, I think is her name, I'm also a Course in Miracles student, it told us to think of God whenever we're feeling sad or whatever. The message just came to me that I had to speak. There's a whole bunch of us back there. I know Mary for about 10 years. I moved down here, and I know her from our Al-Anon meeting at the log cabin. And I see so many people here that I haven't seen since the pandemic. And I just couldn't let the day go by without honoring Mary and how much she gave to that meeting at the log cabin. I think all of us, Lou, Tony, Maxine, Christopher, everybody back there, Raymond, Michelle, David, Dick, all of us. Mary was like the glue that, Mary and Giff, and I have to speak and say Giff's name, was the glue that kept us all together. And I, too, have always been touched by Mary's kindness. And the thing I will always remember about her in that meeting was her tremendous desire to help the newcomer. Those newcomer meetings were so important to her, and even if there wasn't a newcomer meeting, she was so dedicated to helping a new person affected by the disease along. So lots of people jumped on Mary's back and helped, took her faith and strength until we could find it for ourselves. And I don't know, I send my dearest love to David and her family and Tracy and everybody, and I know we've all been touched deeply by Mary. And that's it. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Lisa, and I know Mary from a long time ago. Actually, we moved up after Hurricane Andrew up here to Palm Beach County, and we moved into a house, a little condo actually on Time Drive, and Mary owned that condo. And when you go to meetings, you mostly meet people by their first name, so you never really put it together until we had a ladies gathering at my house, and I'm going down the guest list with my girlfriend, and I said, Mary Eppert. Boy, that name sounds familiar. Mary Eppert. I said to my husband, do we know Mary Eppert? He goes, yes, we're renting from her. She's our landlady. Mary was a beautiful soul, and we were very fortunate to have her place, and she was able to be part of when the kids got born. My daughter got born when we lived at that place, my second daughter. But I think the biggest thing about Mary is because of her love for the Lord, she had this peace about her. But when you look deep in her eyes, she had a joy. She had a deep joy because she was at peace in who she was. And she just spread that peace all around. And, I got to hook back up with her when Tracy and I happened to be at an event. And it was just, she's just a great lady. And so thank you for letting me share. And my regards to everyone.
I just wanted to get up here and say something. I really love my grandmother. She was an incredible person, and I just have the most fondest of memories of growing up at that Time Drive house, and coming downstairs and laying under the piano as she would play it. And since then, anytime I hear a piano, it's just that hum. I think of her, and now I will think of her forevermore. I love her.
Spector, and yes, I'm gonna cry. And I kind of followed Mary around a little bit when I first started doing what I was doing in the Al-Anon program, and asked her to be my sponsor, and she said yes, and she's so patient and kind. We would meet at Publix, and I get lost on the roads with these big pretty trees near the college, and every time we left the Publix, she would say, "Do you want to follow me?" And I'd go, "Yes." I want to follow you because I'm going to get lost. And I followed her, I don't know, a long time, and then I finally looked at her and said, "I got it now." I don't have to follow you. But she knew I wasn't good, or I didn't want to take the time to put it on my GPS, so she was always so patient and kind. We liked sharing pictures of wildflowers and different flowers. I would take pictures when I'd go on vacation of just a flower with no words and send them to her, and she'd send me pictures, and it was always fun. And the other thing I wanted to say, I can hear her in my head because she'd always say, "How's Maxine today?" And I would say, "Good," and she'd go, "Good," even louder, and then we would laugh. There was like this underlying just understanding to be able to say that, and there's more, but that's it. Thank you.
Thank you for all of your shares. I hope you'll stay afterwards and continue to share. We all have great stories to tell of Mary. I love some of what I heard I could relate to, and I too would get the, how's Tracy today? Good, good. Then we'd say good again. And my favorite line was, what are you doing for yourself today? That was my favorite. I came up with this book because it's the one book that the two of us read line by line together, and it's Opening Our Hearts, Transforming Our Losses. I didn't know how much I would need it. A week before Mary passed, I was out at the house and spent, I guess, about 45 minutes with her. David came out and chatted with us for a little while, and he indicated that we had known each other about 30 years, and we both looked at each other and laughed and said, it feels like 30 years, you know. We were bonded from the moment we met, and we did a lot of things together, not just, 12-step related, but she was at our wedding, and David and Mary came and stayed at the house on their way to go see your family, David, and so our paths had lots of reasons to cross, and it wasn't uncommon for me to talk to her on a regular basis, and I can still hear a lot of her those guiding things in my head, and I'm grateful for that, and I want to remember all of that, because that's what she left us. She left us tools. She left us like substantial things to carry forward, and I'm blessed to have been here today and to be part of this, and we are going to, if anybody else would like to share, please raise your hand. If not, we will going to move on. We are going to move on to the prayer of protection, and then some music, and then we will step outside for a little bit, and we will have some refreshments, and then we're going to come back in. They're going to set up the room for some food, and we'll stay till about 4:30. So we appreciate all of you being here, and we hope to chat with you shortly. Thank you.
God, shine a light on me. Open up my eyes so I can see. When I look up in the darkest night, then I know everything is gonna be alright. In deep confusion, in great despair, when I reach out for help, light on me. Reach out for him. Reach out for him. He'll be there. He'll be there. Within your troubles. Within your troubles. You can share. You can share. If you live. If you live. The life you love. The life you love. You get the blessings. Yeah. From above. From above. Heals the sick. And he heals the lame. Says you can do it too. In Jesus' name. I lift you up and he turns you around. And he puts your feet back on higher ground. Reach out for him. He'll be there. Within your trouble. You can share. Oh, you can use his higher power. Every day. Yeah, any hour. Heals the sick. Heals the lame. And he says you can heal them too in Jesus' name. He lifts you up and he turns you around. Puts your feet back on higher ground. Where it shines his light. Whenever God shines his light on you. He is the way. He is the truth. He is the light. Put your feet back, higher ground. Put your feet back, higher ground. Put your feet back, higher ground. Put your feet back on higher ground.
Thank you so much for your participation. The family has invited you to stay for refreshments and conversation. So if you didn't get to speak or didn't feel comfortable coming up or your grief is too deep, please stay and share with us after. So thank you. We're all going to leave this part of the ceremony